The Study of Wretched Subjects by Otto Neugebauer, June 1951, ICES, Volume 42. In the last issue of ICES, Volume 41, 125-126, page 374, there is a short review by Professor Sarton of a recent publication by E.S. Drower of the Mandean Book of the Zodiac, which is characterized by the reviewer as a wretched collection of omens, debased astrology, and miscellaneous nonsense. Because this factually correct statement does not tell the whole story, I want to amplify it by a few remarks to explain to the reader why a serious scholar might spend years on the study of wretched subjects like ancient astrology. The great Belgian historian and philologist Franz Cumont in August 1898 signed the preface to the first volume of the Catalogus Codicum Astrologorum Graecorum, the 12th volume of which is now in preparation. The often literal agreement between the Greek texts and the Mandean treatises requires the extension of Professor Sarton's characterization to an enterprise which has enjoyed the wholehearted and enthusiastic support of a great number of scholars of the very first rank. They all labored to recover countless wretched collections of astrological treatises from European libraries, and they succeeded in giving us an insight into the daily life, religion and superstition, and astronomical methods and cosmogonic ideas of generations of men who had to live without the higher blessings of our own scientific era. To the historian of science, the transmission of ideas is rightly one of his most important problems. Astrological lore furnishes us one of the most convincing proofs for the transmission of Hellenistic astronomy to India. Astrological manuscripts help us to estimate more accurately the combination of Syriac, Arabic, Hindu, and Greek sources in the building up of Islamic science. No Arabic astronomer can be fully understood without a thorough knowledge of astrological concepts. The only hope of obtaining a few glimpses of the astronomical methods of the time of Hipparchus rests in the painstaking investigation of wretched writers like Titius Valens or Paulus Alejandrinus. 6 large volumes of miscellaneous nonsense were published by Professor Thorndike and have become a treasured tool for the study of medieval scientific literature. And the history of the art and philosophy of the Renaissance has gained immensely from the researches carried out by the Warburg Institute on the astrology of preceding periods. The book by Miss Drower is only one modest contribution within the larger task of research in the history of the civilization of the Near East. The difficulties of the problems involved are by far greater than in the case of Greek or Latin texts, with their so much better known terminology and background. We have to thank Miss Drower for exposing a new source which may one day furnish the missing link in the transmission of doctrines which have left their imprint in almost all phases of medieval learning: medicine, botany, chemistry, etc. All these facts are, of course, well known to Professor Sarton, but when the recognized dean of the history of science disposes of a whole field with the words, "the superstitious flotsam of the Near East," he perhaps does not fully realize how much he is contributing to the destruction of the very foundations of our studies, the recovery and study of the texts as they are, regardless of our own tastes and prejudices.